Hello, everybody. We are live. My name is Max Macron, and I work here at the Swedish Institute with the Study in Sweden team. A very warm welcome to our live stream today, all about how to apply to study in Sweden. We are super excited to have you with our 45-minute live stream. I'm joined by my colleagues here from the Swedish Council for Higher Education, who will introduce themselves in just a second. And they are going to be presenting all about the application process for applying to study in Sweden. During our live stream and their presentation, please feel free to put your questions in the chat. We'll do our very best to answer them. Keep in mind, we'll answer the more general questions. If you have more specific questions, we'll let you know exactly who you can ask those questions to a little later on. I'm thinking a good way to get started is maybe folks can put in the chat where they are tuning in from today. It would be fun to know exactly where you are. Might be late at night, might be early in the morning, not sure. And yeah, once the presentation is done, I will come back and we'll have some time to answer a few questions in a bigger group. So I'll leave it to my colleagues here.
All right. Thank you all for coming. It's great to see such an interest, and we will do our best to not disappoint. I'm Christer, and I'm here with Beatrice and Pamela to talk about how you apply to Swedish universities and what to think about when you do. We are all from a government agency called the Swedish Council for Higher Education, and one of our main tasks is to handle the application process for Swedish universities. So today we will be looking at a website called University Admissions, .se, which is the one-stop center for university applications in Sweden. So no matter what program or which university you want to attend in Sweden, you will be making the application at University Admissions. And I want to start by saying that from an international perspective, the application process has a few peculiar points. So I would like to start us off with first making a quick overflight of the entire site and then show you how to start the application process. So let's start with trying to share the screen, and let's hope that works out the way it should. There you are. Great. So this is University Admissions. And first unusual thing, international speaking, is the one-stop center thing. This is where you apply. Every university in Sweden has a well-developed website with lots of information about the courses and programs and why you should apply there, their history, unique selling points, and so on. But when it comes to applications, they will send you back here to University Admissions.se. So let's start by looking at the front page here. At the top here is a search engine for finding courses and programs, which we will get back to. Below it, you can find a few shortcuts pointing you to the hows and whys of the application process. And please read the parts that concern you. I think it will save you time and worry later on. We have a selection of frequently asked questions, which are meant to be the most interesting right now. So those may be worth looking at. There's also a link to our support center below that. Yeah. So at the support center, you can find more frequently asked questions and contact information for reaching us by phone, chat, and email. But let's get back to the front page for now. We have a site navigation, of course, which will point you to a lot of other useful information. You will be linked to the most interesting bits from the shortcuts at the front page. But I still want to point out the navigation because a surprising amount of students miss it. So if you're wondering something, chances are you will find the information under the navigation bar. You will also have to make an account. I'm not going to talk a lot about that because you know how to create an account, but just two things that I want you to think about. And that's be careful when writing your name and your email address. Your name should be written just the way it's written in your passport. And if you're not using the Latin alphabet, use the Latin transcription in your passport. Our systems are still only comfortable with Latin letters. Other alphabets makes it uncomfortable. So it's all a bit provincial, but that's just how it is. And the email address you use should be the one you will be having should be an address you will be having access to in the immediate future, because we will be using it to send you application messages, ask you for more documentation, and so on. So please get those two things right. Changing the later is a whole thing, so best not to have to do that. So let's move ahead to the course and program search thingy I mentioned in the beginning. Let's go with this is where you can just type in a keyword or a subject or a location or a university. But let's try AI because, you know, why not? Everyone likes AI nowadays. So this page here is in many ways the core of university admissions. This is where you can find and choose the study opportunities you're interested in. So far, we just used the search phrase, just AI. That's given us 65 results for study opportunities with English as a tutorial language. And let's narrow it down a bit. We will filter for just programs. We will filter for just master's level. And, well, we're down to 56, not a huge difference. But it's quite the list to choose from. Let's look at one of the study opportunities here. Let's go with one from the top. It tells you the length, how long it is in study credits, what university it is, the location, which Swedish town or city it's in, and whether it's open for applications right now, or whether it's open for application or not. If you click this show more button, you will get more details. You will be told the tuition fee for this specific study opportunity. And as you can see, EU, EEA citizens are not required to pay fees at all. So this is information for the rest of you. And there's also a link to the university's own page about the program or course, which, well, it is what it is. Let's pick a few of these study opportunities and start an application. I'll just pick a few at random. I actually haven't worked out which ones to choose, so I'll just take the ones from the top. Oh, sorry, I should really be logged in for this. Pretend you've already made an account and are logged in. There you are. Here at my selection, you can see the study opportunities I'm interested in. And so far, they're just listed in alphabetical order. The next step is to actually start the application, which I'm doing there. And here you can see all the programs I added earlier. They're still in alphabetical order, but look at this. It says here, you must rank your choices before submitting your application. And that's another of the peculiarities of the Swedish application process, because the choices you make here, the choices in your application should be ranked in the order you most wish to attend them. So if I know that I would prefer to go to attend interactive AI systems at Linnaeus University, I should just drag that to the top. And if I won't be considered for Linnaeus University, I would like to go to Jönköping University. So I'll put that in second place. So this ranking is actually super important for you. If you are offered a position at a program in your application, say your top choice here, interactive AI systems, master program at Linnaeus, you will be deleted from all the choices you've ranked below that. So you will not get to pick and choose later on. This here is where you tell us what you prefer. So this ranking list should be your preferred ranking list. My son's friend actually just made this mistake in just a few months ago. He made the dubious choice of asking a friend how the application works instead of reading the instructions. He would have liked to go to university in Stockholm, staying with his parents, living cheaply in the middle of Stockholm city, but instead has moved to Umeå in the very north of Sweden, because that's what he left at the top of the ranking list. I mean, Umeå is a fine university, but it's an 8-hour train ride and 10 hours from his hometown. So don't be like my son's friend Tage. I mean, he has many friends, he has many fine points, but he can be a bit hasty. Anyhow, moving on. I will not be submitting this fake application because I'll just leave it here and step out of the process. But the last thing I want to say, a third of the peculiarities of the Swedish application process is, when I send in this application, I'm not actually finished with my application. There are two major steps left. First, you will need to either pay your application fee or prove to us that you're a Swedish EU or EES resident. We will not process your application before you do this. And second, you need to send in your supporting documentation as soon as possible. That process is pretty simple. Just upload scans of photos of your documents from my pages. But the sooner you do that, the better. The sooner we can start actually handling your application. And Beatrice will be talking more about documentation. Just, yeah. Now, right?
Yes. So I'll just start by introducing myself. My name is Beatrice Stoltz, and I am an admissions officer at the Swedish Council for Higher Education. And I've been working with foreign qualifications for about 3 years now. And I will help guide you through the application process, and together with my colleagues, we will answer any questions that you may have. But we will start off by looking at the specific pages for, well, there are specific country instructions. So as you can see here, if you apply to master's or bachelor's, you will have to go on the respective page for that. And then we can go further to provide application documents and country instructions, and you will find your country listed there. So as an example, we can go down to the United States and just have a look at the general outline of the page here. So you will find information about what is required to meet the general entry requirements, and you will also find information about if you can meet the English language requirement through, for instance, previous upper secondary studies or university studies. And if we scroll down a bit here on the page, we can see the general information and also general document requirements. But if we scroll a bit further, you should, of course, read the entire page because there's a lot of useful information there. But here you'll find information about special document instructions. So this will be different depending on your country of study. So it's very important that you read this carefully. As you can see here, an example, if you've studied in the US, your transcript will have to be sent to us directly from your university. But if you've studied in another country, it can be sufficient if you upload your transcripts yourself. For some countries, we require scratch card information to verify your documents. So again, very important that you read the specific instructions for the country where you've studied. I would also like to mention that the special document instructions can be different depending on if you submit your upper secondary documents or if it's academic documents. So be sure to check the right page for that. And as we can see as well, if you just scroll up a bit there, Christer, a bit down, just for the translation part. So it's a bit further down. There. So you'll also find information about translation and if you need to translate the documents from your country of study as well. So as you can see from the US, there is no translation required as the transcripts are usually issued in English. But make sure to read this information as well. And again, the translation requirements can be different depending on if you submit your upper secondary documents or your academic documents. So just make sure that you are on the right page. And then I'm also moving forward here. So a question that we get asked quite often is, do I need to submit new documents if I have applied earlier? And the answer to that is generally no. If you have previously submitted documents to us, they will remain in the admission system. So if you have submitted a complete set of your upper secondary documentation or your academic studies, then you only need to submit new documents if you have other documents that can be relevant for the courses and programs that you are applying for now. You must also submit new documents if your previous documentation was incomplete or if we've requested documents that you did not submit. So then, of course, you will have to submit the documents that we've previously requested. And of course, you need to send in new documents if you have any new studies that you've completed since you last sent in your documentation, or if you've taken any new tests. I would also like to note that you should check the university's website as well for information about if there are any other documents that you need to submit. So, for instance, if there's a specific form or a personal statement, for instance. So be sure to visit the university's website to make sure that you meet the current admissions requirements. And again, if you are unsure, have I submitted all the required documentation, then you can, of course, contact us and we will have a look and we will answer your questions. And yeah, that's all I have to say for now. So I'm handing it over to Pamela.
Thank you, Beatrice. I'm going to start by introducing myself as well. My name is Pamela Hanna, and I've worked as an admissions officer for almost 10 years at the Swedish Council for Higher Education. And this is my second time joining this type of live stream. And I will be talking about the entry requirements. So there are general and specific entry requirements for when you apply to courses or programs at university admissions. And they differ depending on if you apply for bachelor's level or master's level. But for example, if we start with bachelor's level, to be eligible for a course or program taught in English, it requires that you have successfully completed your upper secondary, as well demonstrate proficiency in English, which would be the equivalent of the Swedish upper secondary course English 6 or English level 2, as it's called today, and as well mathematics 1A, B, or C if you've received your final school grades after 2009. So those were the general entry requirements, and the specific entry requirements, they are set and handled by the universities. And I think it was Christer who mentioned it, that they are outlined in the individual course and program description found on the university's website. So you will find the link to these description pages from both your search results and your application at universityadmissions.sc. And the general entry requirements for master level studies, you must have been awarded a bachelor's degree equivalent to a Swedish kandidatexamen. And of course, it has to be issued by an internationally recognized university. And along with the bachelor's degree, you also need to have proven your proficiency in English 6, because it's always a specific entry requirement at master's level. So the general entry requirements, they're handled by us, while the specific entry requirements, they're handled by the university. And the English requirements, I know that Beatrice mentioned it a little bit, but it can be fulfilled in many different ways. And upper secondary and university studies in some countries can meet the requirement. And as Beatrice mentioned, that you can find out if your upper secondary qualifications meets the requirements at university admissions and your country of study. And from previous university studies, there are different ways to fulfill the requirement. Students with a degree equivalent to a Swedish one, where English is the main subject, meets the English requirement. So for example, if you have a Bachelor of Arts in English, it should be sufficient. And another possible way to fulfill the requirement is if you've achieved 60 ECTS from certain countries, which are listed on our website. You would also fulfill the English requirement. So for example, if you've studied at a European university or completed your studies within certain African countries and so on. We also accept a number of different internationally recognized English tests with minimum score requirement. And they are, for example, IELTS, TOEFL, Cambridge. And we've also provided the required result for the tests we currently accept as guidance on our website. So make sure to read the information and see what results are required in order for us to register it as English 6 in your account. And when it comes to expiration date, for example, according to IELTS, test results are valid for 2 years. We can accept older test results as long as they're available online for verification. But for example, TOEFL test can be verified for up to 2 years after the test date. After that, we won't be able to verify it. So if we haven't specified length validity on our website, we're still able to accept them, provided we can verify the results online. That was it about the English requirement. Over to you, Beatrice, and the fees.
Yes, so we are going to talk a bit about the application and tuition fees. So the application fee is handled by us at UHR, University Admissions, and the tuition fees are handled by the university. So each course and program will have their tuition fee mentioned on the university's website, but as we saw earlier, you can also find this information on at universityadmissions.se when you search for courses and programs. Of course, the tuition fee will be different depending on the course or program that you apply for. So the application fee is an administrative fee that we charge in order to start processing your application. It is 900 Swedish crowns and it is non-refundable. Again, here you will see, well, the page that Christer is on, you'll find more information about the application and tuition fees, but I'll go in a bit about who needs to pay the application fee. So we have an example on the site there who is required to pay fees. So you can read through this information there. But applicants who are not citizens of an EU, EEA country or Switzerland will have to pay application and tuition fees. There are exceptions to this. For instance, if you have a residence permit in Sweden that was granted on the basis of something other than studies. If you are a citizen of an EU, EEA country or Switzerland, then you are exempt from paying application and tuition fees. But you must document your citizenship by providing a copy of your valid passport, national ID card, or an official document that certifies your citizenship. If you already live in Sweden and you have created an account using your personal identity number, then you usually do not need to submit any documents of your citizenship or residence status, as this information is provided electronically to the admission system from the Swedish Tax Agency and/or Swedish Migration Agency. However, if you have an expired residence permit and have applied for an extension, you will have to submit the documentation of this. If you have an account based on your email, then you will also need to submit documents to us. So upload a copy of your passport or national ID card. All right, so if you have to pay the fee, then how can you go about doing that? So the application fee, you pay it for the semester, so either the autumn semester or the spring semester. So the application fee, you pay it once, and it doesn't matter how many courses or programs that you apply for, the application fee will always be 900 Swedish crowns. And there are different ways that you can pay the fee. So the one that we recommend is that you pay the fee by credit or debit card, because this is the fastest, most reliable way to pay the fee. And you can find information on how to pay on universityadmissions.se, but also by logging into your account under the section application fee, you will find instructions. If you don't have a debit or credit card, then you can pay the fee via bank transfer. However, this method, we don't recommend it. If you have a debit or credit card, you should pay using the card, because a bank transfer usually takes longer and it's less secure, and there will often be fees charged for the service. If you pay via bank transfer, it is very important that you state your application number as a reference so that we can connect the payment to your application. In addition, you should also tell your bank that the amount set must be equivalent to 900 Swedish crowns after all the fees have been deducted. There's also a third option, and it's for those who are already living in Sweden. So then you can pay the application fee via bank giro. So you can pay the fee the same method that you use when you're paying other bills. Of course, if you live abroad and you know someone in Sweden that can help you pay the application fee, then of course you can use that method as well. Just make sure that they put your application number as a reference so that we can connect the payment to your application. And of course, if you have questions, just send us an email and we will help you. And that's all I have for the application and tuition fees. So I will hand it over again to Pamela.
Thank you for those great advice, Beatrice. We've actually picked out some questions that we've received quite a lot of lately, and we thought that we're going to answer them. And Max, feel free then to let us know if you have any questions from the audience as well. But I'm going to begin with some of them. Many of you guys have asked how many programs and courses you can apply to. And at master's level, you can select up to 4 master's programs. And at bachelor's level, you are allowed to select up to 8 courses and programs. There's also been a question about age limit to apply for university, and the answer to that is no, but you will have to provide with completed upper secondary qualifications to be eligible for higher studies and compete with a merit rating.
I can hop in with a few questions from the audience also. One question that came up a few times was, how do I translate the ECTS requirements to the credit system or point system in my home country? How does that work?
There is no need to translate the ECTS, the credit system. We already have knowledge about that, so there's no need to have it transferred or anything like that, converted to the Swedish grading scale. No, we do that ourselves. Yeah.
Perfect. Great. And a few other people were wondering, sort of a scenario. I attend an international school, maybe like a US school, but that school is outside of the US, but I still get a US qualification, a US diploma. Which qualifications do I need to follow?
Well, then you should follow the country-specific instructions for the country of study that will be issuing the diploma. So say, for instance, you will be issued with a US accredited high school diploma, then you should follow the instructions for the US when making your application.
And the same would be if I attend like a British international school in, let's say, Sweden, then it would be that as well. It would be the British qualifications.
Yes, that's correct. You should follow those instructions.
Awesome.
And of course, reach out to us if you have questions and if you're unsure.
Perfect. Speaking of that, there was a few people wondering, they were a bit confused maybe about the qualifications for their specific country. Who can we contact if we're not understanding the specific qualifications?
They can just reach out to us through support service. And if they wish to speak with an admission officer, they can just ask to have their call forwarded to us, unless they actually want to send us an email, use our contact form.
Perfect. Just like showing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic. Just going through. Yeah, dates and deadlines is maybe a good thing for us to talk about. What deadlines do we need to keep in mind?
Well, you can find all the dates and the deadlines from this shortcut here at the start page. And let's take a look at next autumn semester. So for starters, if you have made an application for the autumn semester next year, there is an application deadline at January 15th, and the application fee deadline, also super important, is February 2nd, and that's also the deadline to document that you're exempt from paying application fees or study fees. And it's also the deadline for providing us with supporting documentation. But once again, the earlier you send us your supporting documents, the more time you have to correct them if we think we need more information from you or other documentation. So the earlier the better, both paying fees and providing us with supporting documents. And then the admission results will be published at different dates for masters and bachelors, but they will be, you will get a message sent to the email address you provided us with, but it will also be, you can also see it from my pages at University Admissions. So you won't have to go through the email message. The same message will be available here at the site.
Perfect.
And if you are accepted at a university, your university will contact you with details on where and how you should attend the first course.
I would like to just add something, that there is no guarantee that we will manage to get back to the applicant if there are any further documents missing or needed. So make sure to submit your documents as soon as possible, but there is no guarantee that we will manage to get back to you before the 2nd of February.
Yeah, super good to know. So it's maybe a good rule of thumb is do your very best to get everything in, your application, your documents, pay your fee by January 15th, but you have a little bit of extra time if you need it up until February 2nd to get those things.
But the earlier the better.
Earlier the better. Good thing. And Pamela, you touched on it a little bit, but I think it maybe doesn't hurt to talk about it one more time. I'll do like this. So we have a question here. My IELTS expiry date is in December 2025. So can I apply for the September 2026 intake, or do I need to take my IELTS test again?
No, the thing is that once you've made an application and we've verified your results online and we've registered your English proficiency, it will be there. We won't delete it or anything like that. So make sure to make an application and submit your IELTS so we can verify it and we can register your English proficiency. And then there's no need for you to think about the English requirement anymore. It will be registered there for any upcoming applications you do.
Perfect. And this comes up every year. People wondering if they can apply for university, maybe on the bachelor's level, on the master's level, if they're still doing their current studies. That would be part of the qualifications for their next studies.
Yeah. Well, applicants who apply for courses and programs in the first round, autumn semester, and they're in their last year of upper secondary studies, they have a limited chance of being offered a place. There are some universities that accept predicted grades, but for us to assess and register your qualifications, they need to be completed. So that's for those that applies for bachelor's level, and they need to submit their upper secondary. However, in students in their final year of bachelor studies who don't yet have documentation of their soon-to-be completed degree, they can be accepted by universities. It's called conditionally admitted. We are able to register that you have ongoing studies at a university, but applicants should be prepared to present completed transcript or diploma, official diploma, at the start of the semester.
Perfect. I think it's very clear, which is great. Something else you touched on a little bit, but we could maybe talk about, I think a majority of the folks joining us today are interested in starting their studies in autumn 2026. So they are probably applying in what's called the first admission round, but maybe we could talk about the first round versus the second round and what the differences are.
Yeah, so there are two admissions rounds, so the first round and the second admissions round. And the second admissions round is more targeted towards those who are already living in Sweden. So we do recommend that all international applicants apply to the first admissions round, as there are some advantages to this. For instance, all the courses and programs taught in English are offered, and the deadlines and admissions decisions are much earlier. So if you require a residence permit, then you will have the time to apply and receive this. And you will also then, of course, have extra time that allows you to plan for your move to Sweden and to secure accommodation, for example. And as my colleague Pamela there mentioned, if you're in your final year of upper secondary studies, then you will have a limited chance of being offered a place if you apply in the first admissions round. So if you are a citizen of an EU, EEA country or Switzerland, then you can instead apply in the second admissions round, since you will not have to apply for a residence permit. And you should have also your school grades then ready before the deadline. And if you are a citizen outside of the EU and EEA, then we instead recommend that you apply for the spring semester or the next autumn semester in the first admissions round. And of course, if you have ongoing bachelor studies, so if you're in your final year of bachelor studies, then you can apply in the first admissions round.
Fantastic. That's great. And maybe as a sort of final wrap up, what do you guys think are some of the most common mistakes that people make when they apply, and how can they deal with those?
Well, do you want to start, Christer?
Yeah,
You've talked about it already.
yeah, I think I'd like to get back to the ranking thing. It seems to be counterintuitive for a lot of people, but you're just making one application, no matter the number of universities you're applying to, and in that one application, you will have to rank the study opportunity you most wish to attend at the top, and then second most, and so on. If you are offered a place at one of the study opportunities, one of the programs, you will be deleted from the ones below. So get those choices in order before you're submitting your application.
Nice. Lots of questions in the chat. For the folks who jumped in a little bit later, I would definitely recommend going back to watch the beginning. I think we covered quite a few of the things you're wondering about. Also pointed to where you can contact University Admissions through their support center. So definitely go back and take a look at that. The little QR code in the corner leads you to the country-specific instructions for master studies, which we talked about as well. So you can access the specific instructions for people with qualifications from your country. And I'm actually going to switch out that QR code a little bit to study in Sweden. And that is also a huge information bank for you to look through, get more information about maybe scholarships, about finding accommodation, the different universities, different programs. We have tons of links back here to University Admissions, and they're very helpful filter to find programs and courses you are interested in. And a few of you were asking about scholarships, and specifically the SI scholarships. I'm going to put a link in the chat one more time. We will have a new live stream in December where we talk more about scholarships. So I definitely recommend joining us there instead. You can also find us on social media, Study in Sweden. Our website will lead you to all the right places to find the information you're looking for. I think we can maybe wrap it up there. So I'd like to thank Pamela, Christer, and Beatrice for joining us, all the information. And once again, please don't hesitate to go back, watch these 40-ish minutes that we have. There's so much great information here that will help you on your journey. And like everybody, it's mentioned already, don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a great rest of your Tuesday.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.